So, what if the secret to your best diet wasn't hidden in some new fad or a calorie counting app, but was actually flowing through your own veins? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating idea that suggests just that: the O-positive blood type diet.
It's a pretty wild idea when you think about it, right? The thought that your blood type, something you're just born with, could be a personal roadmap to the foods that make you feel amazing and the ones that might be holding you back. And that's the big idea we're going to unpack. So where did this all come from? Well, it was developed by a naturopathic physician named Dr. Peter D'Adamo. He basically proposed that our blood type is like a genetic echo of our ancient ancestors. The thinking is, if we eat more like them, we can get our diet in sync with our DNA for way better health. Now, for type O blood, the profile is called the hunter-gatherer. The theory suggests that type O is the oldest bloodline out there, descending from early humans who were, you guessed it, primarily hunters. So the diet is designed to copy what they would have eaten way back when. Okay, so if you're supposed to eat like a hunter, what's actually on the menu? Let's get right into the specifics of what they call the hunter food list. This slide pretty much sums up the whole philosophy. It draws a really clear line in the sand between hunter foods, things like meat and leafy greens, and farmer foods like grains and dairy, which really only became a big part of the human diet much, much later. And here's the breakdown. As you can see, it's a very high-protein diet. We're talking lots of lean meats and fish. For veggies, it's all about those leafy greens like kale and spinach. Fruit is a bit more limited to things like plums and figs, and nuts and seeds like walnuts and pumpkin seeds get a big thumbs up. All right, so we know what to eat, but, that's only half the story. Just as important is knowing what you should probably skip. And here is where it can get a little tricky for a lot of us. I mean, look at this list. Dairy, grains like wheat and corn, a lot of beans and lentils. These are staples in most modern diets. The theory is that proteins in these foods, called lectins, can cause trouble for type O folks, leading to things like inflammation and digestive problems. Okay, let's just get to the question I know is on everyone's mind. What about that morning cup of coffee? I mean, for a lot of us, that's a deal breaker. Well, according to this diet, the answer is no. Bummer, I know. Coffee is considered too acidic. But don't despair, coffee lovers. Green tea is recommended as a fantastic substitute. You still get a nice caffeine boost, plus all those awesome antioxidants. So we've got the theory, and we've got the food lists, but what does a day actually look like on this plan? Let's try to put it all together and walk through a sample day, from your meals right down to your workout. Take a look at this sample day. You can see the pattern, right? Every single meal is built around a lean protein source. Eggs for breakfast, chicken for lunch, salmon for dinner. There are no grains, no dairy, and your carbs are coming from vegetables. It's a really clear focus on whole, unprocessed foods that fit that hunter profile. But hey, this isn't just about food, it's about how you move your body too. To go along with that high-protein diet, the plan recommends pretty intense exercise. The whole idea is to sort of mimic the physical demands of a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. We're talking running, HIIT, strength training, things that really get your heart pumping. So what's the payoff? And what are the downsides? Like with any diet, there are reported pros and there are some definite cons. Let's take an honest look at both sides of the coin. Now, people who swear by this diet, they report some pretty significant benefits. By cutting out those foods that are supposedly hard to digest, they often say they have better digestion and way more energy. The high protein focus can definitely help with weight management, and cutting out dairy and grains might help some people reduce inflammation. But you gotta be careful, because there are a few common traps people fall into. It's really easy to just load up on meat and forget about your veggies, which throws everything off balance. And you have to remember, this diet is designed to be paired with an active lifestyle. You can't ignore the exercise part. And finally, the focus has to be on whole foods, not prepackaged, processed snacks that happen to be hunter-friendly. All right, we've covered the theory, the foods, the lifestyle, which brings us to the big question. Is this diet actually the right approach for you? And honestly, this quote right here might be the single most important takeaway from our whole discussion. Nutrition is just not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. While this diet lays out a really compelling framework, the best thing you can ever do is listen to your own body and, of course, talk to a doctor or a nutritionist before you make any big changes. So that leaves us with a really interesting question to chew on. Is this kind of genetic-based eating the next big thing in personalized nutrition?
Or is it maybe an oversimplified theory from our past? The debate is definitely still out there, but now you're a little better equipped to join the conversation.